Alright guys, what's up? I am OJ Light and I am here to talk today about the fat epidemic of America and what we can do about it. Alright guys, so let's kind of get into this, guys. In today's live stream, I'm going to be going over my 3-part process to losing weight. You can see a picture. The thumbnail is my progress picture. Those pants used to be tight once upon a time, and now they're not. So we need to start. I'm gonna start at the beginning here, guys. So the first step is set a goal. Right, that's the first step. Set a goal, okay? So, my goal right now is 200 pounds, and right now, as of this morning, I am 237.7 pounds. I am about 38 away from my goal, which was a lot better than the 285 I was once upon a time. Okay, so we have a goal. Now, how do you set that goal? Okay, how do you actually set the goal? So in the chat, I have left a link to the Banner Health weight chart. Now, I'm not saying this is the most accurate chart ever, but I find it is a good guideline. Okay, good guideline. And this chart states I'm 6'1", right? Which means I should be anywhere between 160 and 202. That's what that chart states. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm gonna get a dark marker. Okay. So I figured 200 pounds, 202, 200, just round it down. That's how we get it. I don't know if that 200 pounds gets me to a six-pack. I don't know. It might be 190, it might be 180, it might be 185. I don't know. But I know I at least need to get to that. I at least need to get to that. So that is how you set your goal. So the first thing, guys, you gotta do to set this goal. Step 1. Look at the chart. Look at the chart. Actually, step 1, know your height. You should know your height. If you do not know your height and you have a doctor's appointment, ask. Find your height. Look at the chart. Go by a scale. Weigh yourself and see how far off you are from the top of the scale. If you want to round down a little bit, like if it's 203 and go to 200, or if it's like 193 and you want to go to 190, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, but I would go to the top of the chart and then work your way down. Okay, so 200 is the goal. 200 is the goal. Okay, I'm 6'1", somewhere between 166 and 202. I figured 200. I'm gonna be 200 pounds, and my scale, as of this morning, I am 237.7 pounds. Okay, so that's how much more I have to go. So this first step that you need to do is set a goal. Okay. Now I want to talk about why. You need to accomplish this. Why this is so utterly important. This is so utterly important for your well-being to accomplish this. Okay. So there is something called. This is actually from the Dan Kennedy. Okay. There's something called the wealth pyramid. Okay, the wealth pyramid. So, this is how this works, guys. So, the wealth pyramid, we got 20% of people endlessly broke, never going to be out of poverty. 20%. Okay, you got 60% that endlessly struggle with money. So the first 80% no bueno. Then you got 15%. Okay, you have 15% that do well. You got 4% that do very well, and then you got the 1% that are like the multi-billionaires. We're talking like the Bill Gates, the Elon Musk. Maybe not even all of them are billionaires in the 1%, but they're filthy fucking rich, right? Generally in life, guys, you want to be in the top 5%, which is not that hard to get there. So that's the wealth pyramid, okay? And this is always correct throughout history, no matter what. Now, let's think of this in terms of health for people, right? We got the bottom 80%, we got the bottom top 20%. Okay, so right now, guys, I just want you to throw out some numbers here. We got 74%, and it might be higher. This is kind of an older number, but 74% of people are overweight. Overweight. Okay, so 70% of people are 74% of people are overweight. So it kind of matches the 80%, right? That almost matches the 80%. However, by the 2030s, so 2030s, 50% of people will be obese. 50% of people will be obese. So, I had to really think about this, guys. The thing that's closest to this 50 right now is the 60. Okay? Which is kind of scary, because if that's true, follow this is going. My prediction, and I don't have a year, I don't know when this will occur. I don't know when this will occur. My prediction, though, and I might be wrong, but my prediction is that eventually 60% of people will be obese, 20% of people will be like dangerously obese. We're talking like 1,000-pound life type of obese. So 400, 500 pounds, 1,000 pounds. We'll have 15% of people that are overweight. Like, I'm technically overweight, guys. So I would fall in the future into this 15%. Okay? We'll have 4% that are healthy weight, which is what I'm trying to get to, and then we'll have 1% that have six packs. And right now, the percentage of people that have six packs is about 3%, so that's not that far off already from here, right? That's not that far off from here. So I think that trend will eventually occur, save some cash, something that happens that forces people not to be this fat, or some miracle drug comes out that fatness is suddenly a distant memory. Short of that, if we keep living the lives that we're living, people keep living the lives that they're living, average American life, we will hit this eventually. I don't know when, I couldn't put a date on a calendar, but eventually we'll hit this, okay? So you want to escape this, guys. You want to escape the bottom 8%. You want to escape this 15%. You want to be here. You want to be up here in wealth and in fitness. You want to be here. Here, okay? Must be there. So let me kind of give this to you in a different way, okay? Like some motivation here to get you guys to this point. Some motivation. The two best things you guys can do for yourselves, like things you can do, is get into shape and make a lot of money. Get into shape. It's not, I don't want to say it's easier than getting money, but it's more fundamental. Get into shape, okay? Do it. Do not be that 60-year-old who wish you did it, who's now having his third heart attack, okay? Don't be that guy, okay? Because it's too late then. It's too late. So, number one, we got to set a goal, okay? And you need to understand why you have to accomplish this, why this is important to accomplish. You also need to understand as a motivation. And there's two types of motivation. There's internal motivation and external. In a perfect world, guys, all you would need is internal motivation, okay? But I understand people aren't like that. I understand that sometimes we need a little external treat, okay? So whatever that is for you, find it, okay? So now that we got that kind of out of the way, We have a first goal. I've explained how to set the goal. I've explained why you need to accomplish this goal, why it's so important. I guess now it's time to go on to the second thing. What do you actually physically do to lose weight? You're here, and you want to get there. What do you do? What do you actually do? Okay, and this has worked for me. You can see the picture, so there's no doubt. This is what I'm about to tell you. This worked for me. So, again. So, good and I'm doing great on time. All right. So, I have five things I want us. Get a piece of paper, guys. These are the 5 things you got to do. These are the 5 things we're going to talk about. These are the main tactics. Okay. The first thing you got to do is sleep. And this is the easiest to hardest. Improve your sleep. Fill your day with play. Drink nothing but water. Lift weights. The last one is just eat meat. Okay? So, again, sleep. For me, this is from implementing this, in my opinion, the easiest thing to do is get your sleep correct, then fill your day with play, then drink nothing but water, then lift weights, then eat nothing but meat. And I'm going to go through all this because there's some caveats and things we got to explain why this is, why this works, where to go from this. Alright? So, let's kind of get into it. So, let's talk about the sleep thing, guys. It's the easiest, in my opinion, because all you do is go to fucking bed and lay down. It's the easiest thing to implement, and it's probably one of the most fun. They're all fundamentals, but this thing is, I think, super important, and I'm gonna explain why. Okay. Alright. So, if I was to ask you, what is the main vehicle to lose weight or gain muscle, or a combination of the two, most of you would say the main vehicle is good eating and exercise, right? That's incorrect. That's wrong. That's fundamentally wrong. You're looking at it from the wrong way. So, I like to use this analogy. Okay? You're here. Okay? Sorry if you can't see that. You're big. And you want to get to this island, right? Where you're nice and thin. Okay? So you're here, you want to get there. You're here, that's where I'm at. I want to get here. Here to here. So what is the boat to cross this? What is the boat to cross the sea? It is sleep. Sleep is the actual vehicle. It's the actual vehicle you use to get from here to there. Sleep. That's the boat. That is the boat. That's the thing that you're going to use to get from there to there. Why? Because you work out, you damage the muscle. When does your body repair that muscle? As you sleep. You're in a calorie deficit. Your body needs additional energy. When does the body convert the fat into energy for you to use? As you sleep. So if you don't sleep, your vehicle to get from Plum City to Paradise Island is fucked. You gotta sleep, okay? Every night I go to bed 9:30. Every day I wake up 4:15, okay? Some days I go to bed earlier. Some days I feel it. I'm like, I need to sleep. So sleep is the most important thing you can do to get from Plum City to Stud Island, okay? And this is universal, girls, guys, whatever, okay? So, alright, sleep is number one. And so one of the other things that sleep does, guys, and this is super important, is it lowers cortisol, which is a stress hormone. If you've been alive, if you're 20 years old, you've experienced cortisol. So when you wake up, let's say you wake up at 6 in the morning and you're hungry by 8, that's cortisol kicking in. That's not your body needs nutrition, please feed me, that's cortisol kicking in, okay? That's why you're hungry. That's why when you're having a really stressful day, like maybe you just got fired, you broke up with your girlfriend, you broke up with your boyfriend, you got in a car accident, I don't know what it is. You're stressed out and you want to eat. That's cortisol. I would even argue if you worked out and your body is really hungry, that might not be a nutrition thing. That might be the actual stress from the working out spiked the cortisol and now you are starved, okay? I'm not saying it isn't some nutritional thing, but I wonder sometimes if the working out and I'm hungry like 4 hours, like starved 4 hours later, if that's not the cortisol just coursing through my veins, okay? And sleep is like the main weapon we have to lower cortisol. Long walks apparently do it. I don't really understand the science behind that. Like I understand the sleep part. That makes sense. You go to bed and your body changes. I'm not sure how the walks, but basically, you want to lower your stress. Okay, and sleep is the best tool we have to lower stress. Best tool. Okay, so that's suggestion 1. Sleep. That's the easiest one to implement. That is the easiest thing to implement. Okay. So, step 2, guys, is fill your day with play. I got this suggestion from Mark. Is it Scissors? I think it's Mark Scissors. He's the Primal Blueprint guy. Okay, and it's really actually quite simple, guys. We all have some spare time in our lives, okay? And how we choose to use that spare time kind of determines the outcome we get more so than everything else we do, okay? So I have a rule of 90 minutes a day is all you need to change your life. 90 minutes a day. So if you fill your day with like 1 hour of play and like say you spend the other 30 minutes meal prepping, those 90 minutes will probably get you there a lot quicker, right? So let me give you some examples of play, what I mean by play. Volleyball league, okay, even, I go swimming, jogging in the park, walking to my dog in the park, that's a big thing I do. I don't really jog, but I know a lot of joggers, I know people that do those marathons, I know a lot of bicyclists, I know people that do martial arts. I do salsa dancing. Anything that's a physical activity that gets you outdoors-ish or in some sort of like sportsy environment where you're physically active and you're meeting people, that's play. That is play. Okay? Video games are not play. And I'm not hating on video games. I'm not hating on it. I like to. My thing is, kind of like at 9 o'clock, I put a podcast on and I doze off, and my computer has a thing on it that kills itself once the podcast is over. We all have, I guess you could say, wasteful time, but if you can just take 90 minutes a day, you can change your life. Okay, so I take like 3 hours a day. I do these streams every night, and I do the 90 minutes of play. So the more the better. But 90 minutes a day. Find a hobby. And hobby, guys, this is for the guys. Oh, this is actually for the girls. If you're wanting to date someone, I have noticed that, I want to say the greatest relationships people I met, but a lot of people I know who are in very long term, married, going on 20, some 30 years. Most of them met in my circle, met with the long relationships, met their significant other through a hobby. Somebody I know married a girl he met through a baseball, like he's at a baseball like league, that's how he met one. I know a lot of people from the salsa dance community who meet, and that's how they marry. What's up, dude? What's up, John? I'm just going through my 5 tips or tactics. I call it tactics to lose weight. And the first 2 was get your sleep fixed, and I'm talking about like having physical hobbies, like that get you out of the house. Okay, so those are the two first ones, and I think those are the easiest ones. I think those right off the bat are the easiest things to do. Okay, the next thing, number 3. This is where the tips start getting hard. This is where they start getting hard. So number 3 is just drink water. Okay. This actually, for me, this was one of the easiest things to do, but for some people, I know this is hard. So, I heard this statistic long ago, and I didn't know, this was a little bit before Google was a thing, that 20% of your calories, thanks man, 20% of your calories come from what you drink. So, juice, pop, milk, alcohol. For the average person, 20% of their calories comes from what they drink. So if you were to just switch to water or iced tea or just straight black coffee, you've cut 20% of your calories right out of your diet. It's like the easiest calorie drop you can do. Okay, and I actually looked it up, and like I said, I got that advice before Google. Like that was something like, I'm talking like early 2000. Probably like the AOL era. Okay, now when I look it up, it's actually 18%, but that's pretty close to the 20. Okay, so best tip, the best easiest calorie cut, I think, is just drink water. And I got this from Alan Roberts. I'm a huge fan of his. This next part about how much water to drink per day, and I apologize, this marker is not the greatest, but for every 2 pounds you weigh, you should have 1 ounce, right? So in a day, if you do this formula, I need 100 ounces or a little over 100 ounces. That's basically 6 bottles of water a day. It's not that hard. So that's the water. That's tip number 3. That's tip number 3. Okay. 4. This is tip number 4 on the tactics I use to lose weight. And the reason this is 4 is because I think it's actually, we're getting into the hard tips, and that is lifting weights. I lift weights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, that's when I lift the weights. That is when I lift the weights. This morning I do swimming. I do a 45-minute swim, but on the other days, weightlifting. Oh, someone's here. My dog's crying. Lifting weights, I love it, but it sucks. Okay, it sucks. Waking up at 4 in the morning and going to do like a heavy lift is not like the, you know what I'm saying? It's awesome, but it sucks at the same time. And the thing is, this sounds ridiculous, but it never gets easier, because if you're doing it right, you're adding weight, right? So if you were like, let's say you start off chest pressing at 50 pounds, like, 25, and it's the hardest thing you've ever done, right? Well, I got news for you. When you get to the 200 pounds, it's still the same level of fucking hardness, okay? So it never gets easy. It never gets easy. I am going to do eventually a whole separate video series on the weights I do, because I took a long time to figure out exercise selection. There's so much garbage online. I've tried everything. I've tried classic lifts. I've tried some of the Science Bro lifts. I have tried multiple programs. I've tried, bro splits, total body workouts, weightlifting 5 times a week, weightlifting just 1 time. I've tried it all, and after fucking around with it, I finally kind of took the best things I liked of each program and kind of did something that is just really sustainable for me. Right now I basically do full body. I hate, because let's say I do a full body on Monday, I ain't gonna want to do it Wednesday. I just ain't. But if I do like what I do, my split is back and leg, let's say back and leg on Monday, Wednesday I'm doing chest and arm. And I just find that split, like kind of like a half body split, way more sustainable. I've been able to do the same split for almost a year now. There's been no burnout. I think it way better than some of the other splits I've tried. The exercise selection, though, I had to try a few things. But lifting weights is number 4. And it's also universal. I know somebody, they are 72 and they still lift weights. Now, they're not like, big and buff, but you can just tell that they move around a lot better than a lot of other 70-year-olds I know. So if I was to say what is the secret of eternal youth, it'd be lifting weights. And then the last tip is just eat meat. I am kind of heavy. Yes, actually, I'm going to talk about the 700 calorie thing in a little, or the calorie guess in a minute. You're gonna like this, because I heard this kind of blew my mind, and then I saw a business video that almost said the exact same thing as a fitness video, but instead of calories, they were talking about dollars made. It was almost insane. Like, they were not, like, totally two different things. That's going to be a little bit at the end. Let me just get through the meat thing. So when I say just eat meat, if you like I like broccoli and cauliflower, that's not what I'm talking about when I say avoid carbs. I hope everyone understands that. I'm talking about like the things that I try to avoid, like the pizza puffs, the onion rings, the mozzarella sticks, the donuts. If it's deep fried, I can't go near that place, man. I love deep fried food. That's really when I say just eat meat, I mean avoid high sugars and fried foods. No one gives a fuck. Really, no one gives a fuck in the health industry if you're eating broccoli. That's not what people are talking about. I kind of see arguments all the time. The guy's blowing his diet on like a pot of broccoli. I'm like, it's fucking nonsense. No one got fat just eating broccoli. We all know that. It's from the fucking donuts. But protein is should be the main source of food and calories. It's pretty. I've heard a lot of things. I think I like the best thing I've heard of how much protein to eat is 1 gram per your goal weight, which is 200 pounds for me. That's what I aim for. That's how I base it. I actually hope when I hit 200 pounds that I want to go to 190. Because I ain't gonna lie, 200 grams of protein a day on actual meat is fucking hard. I wish I was weighed. I needed to be less. It is just not fun. But if you do want to eat carbs, I like the Dwayne Yates thing, because people still say, well, when are carbs good? Well, if you're in the opposite, and like I said earlier, 74% of people are overweight, so very few people. But if you're underweight, obviously carbs. If you're trying to build a lot of muscle, obviously, carbs. But most people don't need to bulk. Most people need to trim. Most people need to slim down. So, and the biggest tool I have found that helps this, you ain't gonna be able to see that in the camera. But on this wall here, I have a calendar. I have my meals written out already for the week on the calendar. I have no guessing on what I'm eating tomorrow. I have no guessing what I'm for lunch. It's going to be some sort of salad with meat. So it's going to be like a chicken Caesar salad, a tuna salad. There's a place I go to that has a salad with lamb in it. It's some sort of salad with meat. That's how I. And then for dinner tomorrow, well, it's going to be 110 tomorrow, so I might not cook. But generally for dinner I have a bowl of hamburger meat. It's with some spice in it. Or tonight I have chicken. I rotate them. On Saturdays I have a rack of ribs, just salt and pepper on it. I eat the same meals every week. It's not fun. It's not. I try to use some spices and stuff, but that's the only tool I have to stick on the diet, like the correct, not even diet, to make sure I don't fall and start eating lots of yummy treats. Okay, and occasionally I do a cheat meal. Like I have a rule: if I'm going out like on a date, I can cheat meal. Okay, because we'll try and be social there. If I'm that's basically it. That's basically when I cheat meal. Okay. Otherwise, it's scheduled, and usually the cheat meal would be on a Saturday, so the ribs got replaced with the cheat meal. Otherwise, the other 6 days, it's either chicken with a bowl of soup, or hamburger meat. Okay. So those are the 5 tactics, guys, just to kind of get your sleep in, fill your day of play, just drink water, lift weights, just eat meat. So now we're gonna move to step 3. Measuring and manage, and I'm going to kind of go actually into the 700 calorie thing. Okay, I'm going to do this first. So this concept, I came up with this concept. I actually got it from, of all things, a Greek philosopher, and I thought it explained the psychology of people so well when they things don't go well in life. Okay, so let me just kind of go what it is. It's called the gap. So let me kind of show you. I kind of like, this is gonna be like a little bit of a, I kind of use this little picture sometimes. So we got like a sea monster here, okay, and this is gonna make sense in a minute. We got like a little sea monster here. I like to call this the point of no return, okay. And then we got another sea monster here. And the Greeks actually came up with this concept. The sea monster thing I'm showing, that's a Greek idea. The Odyssey, if you ever read the Odyssey, this is what they're talking about here. This is where the idea came from. But I think it was either Socrates or Plato. They actually explained this. The actual philosophical concept is called the inflation depression trap. And I'm going to kind of show what it is, okay? So, and then there's like some other monster here. I don't know, some Hydra on the legend. But basically what happens in life, people do stuff. Like, they want the reward, right? They want, like, I want to get to the 200 pounds. And people are like, I'm doing everything right. I'm lifting the weights. I'm eating right. And instead of getting to 200, let's say they get to 218 and they get pissed, right? We've all seen this. They get pissed. So generally what happens, like let's say you don't hit, you fall short of your goal. And it doesn't have to be weight. It could be job promotion, could have been the girl you asked out, it could have been some investment you did, you had some goal, you did some action, and you got short of what you wanted, right? So what happens is, you just watch, you'll see people do this, is they had an ego, they think they deserve this reward, they got this reward, so what do? They get depressed and tank themselves. So this is like someone who doesn't hit their weight goal, like say 6 months I'm going to lose 50 pounds and they only lose 30. They get super depressed, and what do? They eat a bunch of bullshit. Okay, they eat a bunch of bullshit, and then what happens? The gap grows. So they go from 218 and now to 230, and now kind of see how they're sinking. Now they're 240, and they're getting more depressed, and before you know it, they're like 300 fucking pounds. Okay. And they get eaten by the sea monster. That's kind of like the myth, the imagery that's shown with this example, right? And it doesn't have to be weight. It could be, I don't know. But I'm sure if you look, you might even see this in yourself. You fall short of a goal. You got depressed. You know what I mean? You try to numb out your depression, and it actually makes the situation worse. I see it all the time. Not just with like people losing weight, but I don't know, something goes wrong. I knew someone who didn't get a promotion, so what do? They wasn't eating, it was drinking, but same thing, okay? So now to kind of go back to the calorie thing you brought up, this is basically what I was trying to get at earlier. Okay, so they did a study on calorie burn. Okay, and this is what I thought. This is what I found interesting. Most people, like they reported on what they thought they lost calories in in any workout. Oh, I lost 500. I lost 200. Whatever number they threw out. In general, they found that people only lost actually 70% of the calories they reported. just didn't matter the number. The average was, when you looked at everything, 70% of the calories was actually burned. So if you said, I lost 200 calories, it was only 140. Like, that makes sense. And I found that interesting because I watch a lot of Alex Hormozi videos, and he said something very similar but with money. He said something very similar with money. He said, generally, so you're like 30% short. You're 30% short. He said that usually to get to the business goal you have, you really should be working 12-hour days, because the 8-hour days won't get you as far as you think you did. And if you do the math, 12 hours versus 8 hours, it's an additional 30% worked. So I kind of thought that was an interesting idea that you got to do. Oh man, my marker's on. 30%. Oh boy, more work to get whatever it is. So if you think this amount of physical activity is going to make me lose this amount of weight, you really need to do about 30% more. That I thought that was a really interesting concept. I liked it a lot. So that's the gap. But actually, how do you measure your weight loss? Is actually what the last step is. And I've tried a lot of measuring methods. I've done like once every 2 weeks, once every day. Once a day I measure myself, or I've tried weigh myself once a week, once every 2 weeks, every day, every other day. And I found the one I think is the most accurate is an average over 7 days. So what I do is I measure myself every day, and then I add up the 7 days and get the average of what it is. So where's that book at? I got my new fitness book. I manually log stuff. I find pen and paper way better. Or I don't know. I just enjoy pen and paper logging way more than on the phone. So let me give you the weights I've been doing since I started doing these videos. Right, I started a new weight log when I started these videos. So day one, I was fucking fat on day one. Oh man, I think my marker's dead. Sorry about that. Anyway, so day one, well, let me get a calculator. Day one was 242 pounds, okay? Fat, okay? So that's what I weighed on day one of when I started doing these videos, okay? Day two, let me do the math here. Oh wait, I got it. I'm fucking right here. What am I looking at? So day two, I weighed myself in the morning. I was 237.2, alright? So if you add those two numbers and divide it by 2, that'll give you the average. That'll give you probably a better, more accurate weight of what you are. So you divide that by 2, you get 239.2. So that's the average of the two. Really you want 7, but I don't have 7 yet in the book. So day 3, the hard number was 236.6, but again the average was of the three days was 238.3. Today's hard measurement when I woke up this morning was 230.8. But again, if you take the average, you're at 237.7. Okay, so that's how I do my weight measuring. I take the averages. Once you get 7, it becomes a lot more accurate. And then, like when I get to day 8, I'll scratch out day 1 because that's beyond the 7 days, and that's how I actually do my measuring of my weight. I take the averages. I think it's a more accurate description of what's going on, because anyone who's weighed themselves day to day knows there's massive fluctuation. I've had it where I was like one day 240 and the next day 230. Like, you know what I mean? I obviously didn't drop 10 pounds of fat in a single day, right? So obviously I think the average is just an easier way to get an accurate measurement. And that kind of leads to the last point, how to what's a good reasonable goal per week to lose, okay? And again, I got this from Alan Roberts, big fan of his. He suggests a 0.5% a week, okay? 0.5% of your body weight a week. So if you were 300 pounds, 0.5% would be 1.5 pounds that week you lose it, right? If you were 400 pounds, it would be, what is it, 2 pounds a week. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, the 0.5%, but kind of think about it. If you were to lose 0.5% of your body weight a week, in a year, you probably would hit about 25% of your body weight loss, okay, which is massive, right? So if you were 400 pounds, you might hit a 100-pound loss. 100 pounds is a lot to lose in a year. It's a lot. It's a lot. If you were 300, it might be 75. That's a lot. If you were 200 and you were trying to get down something, you might lose 50. That's a lot. That's a lot of weight to lose in a year. So it doesn't sound a lot on the week by week, 0.5%, but cumulatively, it gets pretty massive, pretty quick. And I just think a half percent is really reasonable, right? So right now, where's my calculator? So a week from today, if I'm 237.7 today, let's just calculate it out. And the number you want times is 0.995. That'll give you the 0.5%. So whatever your weight is, times 0.995. So from a week today, I should be 236.5 pounds from a week from today. If I'm doing a half a pound, 0.5% a pound of my body weight a week, okay? And then and then you keep calculating it out, and eventually get to the 200. And you might have better weeks, you might have worse weeks, but on average, you would hope you'd hit the 0.5% on average per week, right? So that is a 3-step process. Set the goal, my tactics, and how to measure and manage. And I kind of want to put it all together here. So I got called. I wrote this down. This was amazing. I think my walk is dead, so I'll just read it off. So I got called out in real life when I was out salsa dancing. One of the salsa dancers is a personal fitness instructor, okay? And she did not like the idea of me saying just eat meat. She's like, it's all calories in and all calories out, okay? So I took that criticism seriously, right? I thought that was a serious criticism, okay? I think it's a good criticism, but when you look at, if we look at what I implemented, just with the eating, let's kind of look at it. So this is like, in my opinion, this is like what I'm about to say, the most average, everyday American diet you have ever heard. Okay, this is like what the average American would eat at lunch. Okay, straight up. And I went to an actual restaurant's website. They had a menu of the calories, so I took this straight from their menu. Okay, so a double cheeseburger with a large fry and a Coke, and you know they're gonna get a refill on the Coke. So I added that. So the double cheeseburger is 1,100 calories. It's straight from the website. The large fry is 480 calories, and the 2 Cokes, because they're gonna get a refill, is another 480 calories. So that's 2,060 calories at just lunch. So I thought to myself, okay, let's take if it really is calories in, calories out, let's just look at what happens when we implement my suggestions. Okay, so if you took the bun off the cheeseburger, they even have the buns listed, surprisingly, how much calories that's. The cheeseburger comes out to be 860 calories, okay? And so if you got a house salad instead of the fries, you're at that's 360, and since you're drinking water or unsweetened tea, the 480 from the pop goes to 0. So the calorie intake for the lunch I'm suggesting, based off of my suggestions, is 1,220. So that's an 840 calorie swing by just implementing what I said. That's not anything with physical activity that you can probably burn more calories in. That's not any of that. That's just the water and the meat. That's it. And I even with the calorie, I still think even with the calorie It's all about the calories. I still think if you implement the suggestions I did, the calorie loss is just massive. It really is. It really is. So, like I said, I took that challenge to heart, and I still think, well, even if it is really all about the calories, and just to be clear, my stance on this is that I think a lot of people say it's the hormones created by the food you eat that creates weight gain, and some people say it's just calories. I don't know why it's so weird to think it's a mixture of the two. Like, nothing is usually one or the other in life. It's usually like a mixture. So I think you should be careful of what you're eating to not set off hormones, and you should be watching your calories. I don't see why you can't do both at the same time. I don't know why that's an alien thought to some people, but it is. It is an alien thought to some people, and for me, I think it is a mixture of the two. So that is my presentation for the night, guys. John, I know you. I don't know if you've watched the other videos. I didn't even realize it. Yesterday's video, I had two speakers on, and it was. I didn't even realize I had two speakers on for my computer, and it was recording both of them. Yesterday's video was fucked up, but basically, I'm going through this presentation every night. I'm really trying to hone it in. I'm really trying to get nuances to it. I'm trying to expand it. So. Really make it something awesome for people to watch and learn from. I'm currently, where is that book at? I'm currently taking a suggestion from Dan Kennedy, who says, keep working on your speeches and turn it into like blog posts and books. So right now I'm really working on this speech, trying to get it down. I really want to make it something for people. And that's basically what I got for the night, guys. So if you got any questions or suggestions, let me know now. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. Give you guys a second. We will be doing more bath mate videos, by the way. I actually was trying to record a demo, and the audio was fucked up, and that's when I learned the audio was all fucked up, when I rewatched the video, and I was like, holy shit, the audio's fucked. I mean, it was bad. So that is what we are working on, but I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out. Oh.